Antarctica iceberg, twice the size of London, breaks off of the Larsen Sea ice shelf. This thing is enormous. Let's take a look. So, the size of the iceberg, over 2,400 square miles. To put that into comparison, that's almost the size of Delaware. It's about half the size, a little bit more than half the size of Hawaii, 4 times the size of London, 2/3 the size of Cyprus. You can see this graph at dailymail.co.uk. I'll leave the link in the video description box. This is showing you the current. So if you look at the ice shelf, Larsen Sea, the tip there, it breaks off, then what? Well, huge icebergs slowly drift to sea. Some of them are still available via radar, some not. It will have an effect if they get into shipping lanes. The question is, what is this going to do to the coast, and how fast is Antarctica going to melt? Will it melt? Will it be the next America? Will this be the next Atlantis? Was this the previous Atlantis? I find it interesting that the ozone hole is directly over Antarctica. Maybe that just has to do with the shape of the planet, the currents, etc. I'm not an expert on that. I don't know. It does seem, though, that there's certain factions that want to melt the ice in Antarctica to get to something. Whether it's ancient tech, civilizations, I don't know. Now let's say this entire chunk, the entire peninsula, the Antarctic peninsula that has Larsen Sea shelf, let's say this whole thing breaks off. And then bits and pieces after that. What type of an effect will this have on the island chains, the Caribbean, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos? What will this do? Coastal cities. Like if let's say the entire Antarctic melts, then what? Do all coastal cities flood? Let's take a look at the actual, this is from earth.nullschool.net. This is a great map to keep track of the jet streams, the wind positions, the speed. So this is Antarctica right here. So let's take a look at the shelf right around here. The iceberg is probably somewhere in this vicinity, and it looks like with the jet streams, it'll either get sucked back in, it'll stay in this area, or it might somehow branch off a little bit around here and then start to go off into the ever-ending abyss towards Africa, Southwest African continent. Or maybe it'll come over here into South America. How will it affect up here? It's a long way away. And the next podcast I'm going to share with you guys is it looks like we've got some activity up here close to the coast. Is that Hurricane Jose still? You can see the wind speeds aren't that intense. I mean, 60 miles an hour. It's not that big of a deal. But if you come down here, take a look at the wind speed. Still about 40, 50 miles an hour. Nothing too intense as of yet over the islands. There's one behind it as well. So we'll find out here in the next couple of days what these guys are going to do. The projections that I saw here of Jose is it just stays in the Atlantic and heads east. But you know what? Looking at the jet streams right now, it looks like it's going to be pushing towards the coast. So it might gain steam. It might cool off. I'll keep you posted. What do you think about all of this stratospheric aerosol injections, all the SAIs, the geoengineering, the blanketing the planet to attempt to cool the Earth, supposedly to save us? Well, it might have the opposite effect. Especially when you read about the reports from, so a 2013 article came out from Norway, where they admitted that the entire world was going to be a laboratory and they were going to spray the planet to attempt to cool the Earth. And in doing so, we're all lab rats. And the projections of these charts showed that if you did it for, let's say, 50 years, after that 50 years, over the next 5 years, the Earth has to make up for the additional geoengineering that was done to it. So it has to correct itself fast and furious. So they say if once they start spraying, they need to keep spraying, because if they don't, then that's what happens. Then you're going to have a few years of just complete devastation. Well, maybe that's better than prolonging, dealing with a few years of insanity might be better than decades of slow boil to the point of where there will be no option of coming back because it'll be too late. Because too much of the ozone will be gone. Question everything. Sign up at leakproject.com today if you haven't already. You'll get access to over 1,200 podcasts, downloadable, streamable, ad-free. Dozens exclusive at leakproject.com. Also hit the subscribe button at youtube.com/clandestine time lord if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Be the change you want to see.